a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC Worldwide and Jib Jab greetings. I'm Bud Lowell. Your full AccuWeather forecast is on top here on your CNC news page. Residents of the Brockport Central School District on the west side of Monroe County have a big vote Thursday. A bond issue to fund health, safety, and instructional upgrades to the district schools is on the ballot. This bond issue is nearly $19.5 million. It's intended to meet a list of deferred maintenance issues and other construction work identified earlier this year by a committee of parents and district staff in Brockport. The district decided to make this a unique project and submit it to voters so it could take advantage of New York's Excel program, expanding our children's education and learning, which is a special building aid. Excel will pick up 90% of the building improvements if the voters pick up the rest. A detailed report on just what the district plans to fix with the money and at which schools is on the Brockport Central School District webpage. But most of the money is going into basic building repairs and upgrades for various Brockport schools, replacing roofs, worn-out plumbing, heating systems, electrical work, that sort of thing. Some will go for instruction-related internet upgrades and new classroom technology. Voting is through 9 p.m. in the Technology and Training Center, the former district bus garage. The Rochester City Council voted unanimously Wednesday night to approve Mayor Tom Richards' plan to sell the former Sibley department store building on Main Street. Boston-based Wynn Development will pay $5 million for the Sibley building. They plan to redevelop it for residential, office, and retail use, and Mayor Richards says he'd like to see Monroe Community College keep a downtown campus in the building as part of the project. The Sibley building is currently owned by Rochwill Associates. That's a subsidiary of Wilmerite. Wynn will assume a $3.1 million loan the city gave Rochwill to buy the building years ago. Rochwill was never able to develop the Sibley building as it wanted to, and it ended up owing nearly $20 million to the city of Rochester under a 20-year payment in lieu of taxes agreement. The city says it's not letting Rochwill off the hook for the failed pilot deal, but it does not believe Rochwill will ever have the assets to pay up. This is a little out of our usual service area, but it's a story we just can't resist. Republicans in Livingston County were left not knowing who their candidate for district attorney was after last week's primary election. And after the absentee votes were counted on Wednesday, they still don't know. The race between Republicans Eric Sheener and Steve Sessler was a dead heat after the primary, and now it's a dead tie. The Livingston County Board of Elections says each man has 1,879 votes. The race will now be decided in court. The Board of Elections says there are 4 absentee ballots that might break the tie, but they couldn't count them. 3 had extra marks that shouldn't have been there, and the 4th had an improperly filled out application. Now a judge will have to examine them and then rule if any of those ballots can be counted. And somewhere out there is somebody saying, my vote doesn't make a difference. A violent car crash in Ontario County left 2 people dead Wednesday afternoon. The Ontario County Sheriff's Office says it happened on Route 21 near Cheshire in the town of Canandaigua. A car driven by 45-year-old Patsy Garcia of Canandaigua crossed the center line and hit a pickup truck pulling an empty horse trailer, head-on collision. Garcia and a passenger were both tossed from the car and they were pronounced dead at the scene. Deputies hadn't released the male passenger's name at our last check. 2 dogs were also riding in the car. One was killed in the crash. The other was being treated at a veterinary hospital on Wednesday night. The pickup truck driver, 69-year-old Kenneth Naples, suffered only minor injuries. Sheriff Phil Pavaro said this crash was so violent that Garcia's car was just dismantled. He says they're still trying to find out what caused the car to veer into the opposite lane. Motorists heading home Wednesday from the city of Rochester ran into a problem on eastbound 490 when a truck loaded with scrap metal crashed and rolled near the Clinton Avenue ramps. All 4 lanes were blocked for a time on the expressway by the overturned truck and its cargo. It took until 7 p.m. to finish cleaning up the spilled load and tow the truck out of there. Police say excessive speed may have caused this accident. The truck driver and a passenger were injured and taken to Strong Memorial Hospital. And the Monroe County Sheriff's Department says a crash in Penfield early Thursday is likely going to be a DWI case. A car crashed into a pole on Old Penfield Road shortly after midnight. The driver and a passenger left the scene. Deputies did find them a short time later, and they say drunken driving charges are probably going to be filed in this one. A final note related to the economy today. Halfway through New York's 2012 fiscal year, State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli says New York State's tax receipts are $147 million less than the state projected. The August cash report from the Comptroller's office says tax revenues are over $204 million off from the same period last year. DiNapoli says that reflects continued volatile economic conditions. DiNapoli says New York's budget is on fairly solid ground all the same, but slow economic growth, he says, shows the need to be cautious in state spending. The state has been spending less than it budgeted, so it actually has $1.5 billion as a cushion in the bank. To the left of this window are links where you can check up on these and other stories. At the bottom of the page, links for you to use, and you can directly post us items that you've written, news that you've heard or want to be checked up on, or things you'd like to verify, anything you want us to know about, and there are different categories. You'll find them all in that gray bar at the bottom of the page. We look for what you send us, because if it's news to you, it's news to us. Next news as it happens here on the CNC pages, updates when necessary, and I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.